Hey guys, are you a senior that just got your college admissions decisions back and are wondering how the heck am I going to choose which college is the right one for me? Or are you a junior or sophomore or even younger and trying to figure out how will I know what college is right for me? Well, if that's you, this video is for you. What I'm going to talk about today is how to choose the perfect college for you. Before we get going though, I want to remind everyone to subscribe to our channel by clicking subscribe below this video. Also, go to supertutortv.com/subscribe and you can subscribe to our mailing list to find out everything awesome about Super Tutor TV, as well as to check out the best ACT prep course ever. If you are prepping for the ACT, we have an online course with me. What I'm doing in these videos is sharing with you all of the secrets that I share with my private students. It's like private tutoring, but at a lot less of a cost. So go check it out. And also in fall of 2018, we're going to be coming out with the best SAT prep course ever. So keep your eyes out for that. What I'm going to talk about today is this whole college decision process. I'm going to go through 5 ideas of how you can be sure that you are taking into consideration all the things that are most important when you're making this huge decision of where should I go to college or what college is the right fit for me. And these are based both on my experience as a consultant. I work with students through this college admissions process, both with test prep and in terms of consulting. It's from my own experience. I've gone to college twice. I went to Stanford and I also went to USC as a graduate student. And so I've made college decisions a couple of times myself. So that's where this video comes from. That's who I am. That's what I do. And that's why I'm talking about this. So my number one tip for people who are trying to choose the perfect college is to source other people. There was an article in the New York Times a little while back that basically was talking about how a lot of times high school students make a college decision based on their high school selves, right? Based on their high school sort of view of the world. And we don't necessarily take into consideration the factors that are most important. And as a result, we don't necessarily make the best decisions. And the conclusion that this article came to, which is my conclusion also, is that one of the best ways to come up with the best college for you is to source people who actually have experience. Because the truth is, 1, you've never been to college. 2, you've never graduated from college. And 3, the biggest impact that college is going to have on your life is the impact while you're there, as well as the impact after you're there. And your current self isn't going to know how to make the best decisions for your future self in the same way that someone who has gone through those experiences will be able to. What's awesome is we live in a digital age. And in a digital age, it's really easy to start up conversations with people about particular topics. My favorite place to do it is Quora, and go ask questions or go read the answers to other questions that people have asked about the universities that you are eyeing or you got into, and figure out what are their experiences like, what did they go through, why did they like going to the school, what are the drawbacks of this school, so that you get a better understanding of the experience, okay? The other place that you can get advice is from people who you might know, maybe friends of your parents. And if you've applied for a very specific program, sometimes you can even reach out to the school and ask if they have any alumni who might be willing to talk to you about the program, or current students. So reach out and try to get as many of those points of view as possible. Source the hive mind. But my number 2 thing that I'm going to say to you guys is actually the reason why you need to source other people. And my number 2 reason is that you need to set aside your individual teenage bias and think long term. This is something that I didn't completely do when I was a teenager. I still think I completely made the right decision for me in terms of college. I think I got lucky because I applied Stanford early. I fell in love with Stanford. It was the only college I liked, and I got to go there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you a story about me when I was a teenager and a mistake I made, I think, in my thinking through of this decision-making process. When I was a teenager, I think 16 years old, and you know, you have the college fairs and you have all of these college events. There was an event that was an Ivy League information session that was in Overland Park, Kansas, where I lived at a hotel. It was probably a Thursday night. It was probably raining or something. I think I had trouble parking. It was annoying. I got to this information session and it was led by several people who I remember being just like boring, really old lawyers who went to Ivy League schools. I found this presentation to be absolutely abhorrently dull. I thought the people who were giving the presentation were snobby and stuck up, and they thought the Ivy League was like the best thing in the world, and I found them super boring and dull, and I wanted nothing to do with them, and that was not what I wanted for a college experience, that information session. So I then, at that point, wrote off the entire Ivy League, and I don't think that that was the best decision, to be honest. I was thinking about what would be cool when I was 16 years old. I was not thinking about what would be best for my long-term growth and my long-term life as a human being. Where you go to college matters a lot more to your 35-year-old self than it will matter to your 17-year-old self because you haven't even gone there yet. So you want to think into the future. You want to think, who will I be when I'm mid-career? Who will I be when I'm 25, when I'm 30, when I'm 40? And what will that person benefit from? So what I want you guys to do is get yourselves out of your teenage minds. That means you have to get yourself out of your bias. You have to not just be making decisions according to how you feel or according to what you've made up in your mind for your systems that work. And that's why it's really important that you turn to other people who have more knowledge about this stuff than you do, that you turn to other people's opinions. And that was my really huge number one. You've got to get some experienced people to tell you what it's like so that you can evaluate their experiences and say, is that an experience that I would value? Number 3, my third point on my list is to consider reputation. Now, this is just building on the factor of considering other people's opinions. In the same way that your teenage mind is going to be biased in ways that are going to hurt you in the long term, if you consider reputation, it's kind of a generalized hive mind kind of concept of what schools are better schools in general and what schools are less helpful schools. The last thing that I'll say about thinking about reputation is the U.S. News and World Report Top 50 Schools isn't the only list of reputation. There's a lot of different ways to look at reputation. You can look at the reputation of the major that you're looking at or the department that you're looking at. That's another way to look at reputation. There's lots of different lists of colleges that have the best return on investment, of colleges that produce the top earners, colleges that have the most millionaires coming out of them, colleges that have the highest rate of graduation. There's all different kinds of measures that you can use to evaluate schools using data or using reputation. So I encourage you to look at lots of different factors as opposed to just like the top 50 schools or something like that. But I will tell you, you should be taking reputation into consideration because it's one of those things that's going to help you in 20 years in a way that it's not really helping you right now, or you might not see why it helps you right now. Okay, fourth way to find the perfect college for you is to visit if you can and trust your intuition. Now, I know this New York Times article, and I even, have already said that college visits aren't the perfect way to find the perfect college for you, but they are part of the process. If anything, a visit is you watching a commercial for the college, right? It's an immersive commercial for this college that you might go to. And it also gives you an overview of what I call the Kool-Aid of a college. And the Kool-Aid of a college is what they tell you when you go on their big campus tour, right? It's the spiel that they give you. It's the sales pitch they give you. For me, when I went on the tour at Stanford, Stanford has such an entrepreneurial spirit and such an emphasis on individualism and innovation that I know when I went on the tour there, it just clicked for me. I felt at home, it worked. And sometimes you will get that experience. Now, what I will say is do not discount schools just because you didn't like the tour. But you might open yourself up to schools, or you might feel like a school is a good fit from the tour. So visit if you can. I know not all of you can afford it, and that's why it's awesome that you have the experiences of others. And finally, consider the investment. College is an investment and it does cost money, and that is something that probably will weigh into the picture. You have to figure out how you're going to pay for college, and it's a question you have to ask. As you consider these ideas, I encourage you to reach out, whether it's on the internet, whether it's on Quora, whether it's on Reddit, wherever it is, and see what other people say who've been in a similar circumstance to you. Ask people who've gone there who've had to take on loans. Was it worth it? Ask people who've gone there who have student debt. Were you able to pay that student debt back, or was it worth the cost? I don't think, again, this is the most important thing, because the point of going to college is to give you the tools to earn enough money so that you can become a stable individual. But obviously it is something that you guys should consider. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys liked it, and I hope you guys are able to come to a good decision of what college fits you and suits you the best. Like this video if you liked it. Check out our Twitter, our Facebook, friend us, follow us, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys next time on Super Tutor TV. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.